Hello everyone. Just gonna make sure everything's working properly. So just give me a second here. Great. I'm just gonna make sure everything's working properly. So all right, welcome guys. Welcome to this stream. This stream is about lights and how you can use them in your rooms. It looks really epic. We're really excited to have lights here, and these are all the cool things that you can do with your lights. At the moment, I'm in the lights template room. It's called Lights Template. Go to this room. It's called Lights Template. Oh wait, sorry, LightsTutorial. My bad. And anyways, it is great to have lights, and you can actually use this tutorial room to your advantage. You can copy this room however you please. It's in the base rooms. You can clone anything that's in this room and make it your own. Especially now that we have the competition out, you can actually use a lot of these assets for the competition if you haven't done so already. Also, I'm just going to go over a couple of things here about how point lights work and how the lights in general work. All right, so let's just get started here. Let's face this direction. If you open up your palette and you go to you want to go to gadgets, and we're gonna you have math chips, game chips, other chips, gizmos, and other gadgets. You want to make sure you're clicking on the other gadgets, and this is where you can find the lights. You can find the point light, and you can find the spotlight. So we're going to go over those today. I'm going to create the point light here, and I do have a tutorial on this on Rec Room. If you guys haven't seen it at all, it will help you actually do some of these things. So this is the point light, and you can see how it's like it just fills up an area wherever you go. And what you can do is you can actually recolor it by going to the recolor tool and selecting a color. So now it looks red. You can also go to configure, the configure tool, click on the light, and you can change the intensity. So that's really, really red. Almost looks pinkish. And you could like really blow it up, you guys. Like, it's pretty epic things you can do here. Go back into configure. Wait, let's go back into recolor. Color those different. That looks pretty rad. So like, you can do a lot of really crazy things with these lights. Pretty cool. I'm gonna go back into configure, lower the intensity. See? Range, and then the intensity. Kind of gives it like a nice soft look. So that's really cool what you can do with this light here in general. Same thing what I did here. So like if I had a lightsaber, we just hooked up a light and a clamp to the lightsaber, and when you kind of like touch the ground, you can see that it's actually glowing. When you walk with it, it's glowing as well. So it kind of like gives you that realistic look. A lot of people have already done some really cool lightsabers in Rec Room. It's pretty epic stuff. You could also do like some pretty cool disco lights too, if you wanted to. This is just a template, kind of like a template tutorial room here. So there's a lot that you can just, it's kind of like random stuff. So you can also do like hover things and how things glow and how this might take up space around how this kind of like red light could shine. Oh, it's frozen. Freeze that. So it doesn't look realistic, right? But when you have the red light next to it, kind of looks a little more realistic. Really showing you that this is a place where you can just put your hand on and disappear to. Pretty cool. All right, that is what you can do with the lights here. We have same thing going on here. It's like a really soft blue light. It's very soft. And the reason why we chose a very soft light is so that, because these lines are kind of soft and we didn't really want to drive a lot of attention to them. So having a very soft light really helped these kind of like stood out and seem more real. So you see that the intensity is at 2 and the range is at 28 on these ones. Pretty cool. Also with these over here, you can make some really cool lamps in a rec room. And a lot of people have already done so. So like this is a glowing object, but when you go into it, you can see that there's a light into it. We stuck a light and a clamp. So the clamp is actually sticking to the light and the actual object to hold the light in place. So when you go closer to things, you can see how it actually looks realistic. Move up and down to actually get that kind of effect. So if you're like creating a quest or a story, it really helps to bring that alive. Pretty epic there. I'm going to take a look at my comments real quick before I go into the spotlight. Oh, I did. My bad. Well, it technically is kind of a Q&A. But yes. Okay, so that's really great way how you can use lights. This is a really nice flicker here, the fire. It's a really great way of creating a realistic fire. There's several ways you can do this. You don't have to have a gizmo to go up and down, although that does help to give a more realistic look. You can actually use a random chip too to help with the light flickering. You can also do a wave chip. So we're using a random, adding that random to the wave chip so that the light is flickering on and off, and using this wave chip to help the gizmo go up and down, and turning the gizmo on and off by using this chip here. So that's pretty neato. And then we add another light on here, because if you didn't add another light, you can see how it doesn't look realistic there, but when you add another light on top of it, it kind of like just brings out, it makes it more alive. So you have kind of like a red light and then kind of like another red light, just more like a pinkish yellowish light, just flickering up and down, flickering between two different colors, just to give it that kind of fiery feel. That's a really cool way of doing it. So if I went into like wire tool here, you can see that the light here is like flickering up and down, and let's just go ahead and stop our gizmos for a second because it's really hard to do that. So we're gonna go stop gizmos, and then if you click on your wire tool, you can hover over the different tabs here. So you have the intensity, you have the range, you have on and off, and you have the color. So you can control all of these tabs here with a variable chip. And if you go to the configure variable chip, you can see that the red is hooked up to the green tab. Yep. And oh wait. Yeah. So this red tab is hooked up to this tab here, which is color, and on and off is the blue tab. So which is 1. So we can turn it off. 1. Yes. And then the random chip circulates that. So green, right? green. Negative. So the negative random chip does that. So you can do continuous or pulse. You have those options with the random chip. And then the random chip is added. Add. Control those variables with the waves chip. So you can like change. Okay, mind. Back. Try that again. And it flickers different. Just slightly differently. Not too much. Up there. But when I do that, you can see that it looks different. So, whoops. Did not mean to do that. Let's make that back to environmental. Back here. And so forth. Yeah. All right. Now that we kind of went over the flickering light, let's go over the spotlight. All right. So the spotlight's really cool too. It's really good to make like flashlights and so forth. So if we went back into gadgets and then we got the spotlight out, great. And then you just point it down. You can see that it kind of like points at walls and so forth. Looks pretty cool. It's really low. Big and big and big, big. And we're at the point where you can't see it. So you can actually control that with the range. So if you configure it, you can control the range. So that's how far it's going through. So if you were, for an instance, had a maker pen object here, and then your light's going through the maker pen object, you can just control the range of the light, and it won't go through the maker pen object. Let's go there, and then you can change the intensity as well. So that's really good about the point light. Pretty cool. You could do really cool spotlights, shows, even like flashlights or guns or anything that pretty much has a direct light to it. For example, like this lamp, for example. You can like turn it on and off. And this flashlight here. On. Oops. I'm touching stuff. There we go. On and off. Yep, and this is actually made by two clamps. So you have a clamp, and then the source of the clamp is connected to the it's connected to a sorry, my headset's in the way, but if you look closely, it's actually connected to a glow stick. So like the glow stick is in there, and the glow stick is really small, so I shrunk the glow stick so you can hold on to the glow stick, and the glow stick is connected to the body of the clamp. The rest is connected to the tip of the clamp, so it's that the tip is connecting the light and all these objects here, and including the gizmo. So pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So if I turned off gadgets, I'm gonna go back into settings, hide gadgets. So now you can really see what it looks like right now. So if I went here and touch this, it's like on. Touch it back. So you can really see what you can do with it. Yeah, pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. Yeah. So another really cool thing you can do with this new update is adding neon colors. Check this out. You can add neon colors now. That is so epic. And the simple way to adding neon colors is by going to your maker pen and going to your opening up your palette and then going to your colors, and you see this little box here. It's called neon colors. Just click on that and you can color things neon. Of course that's frozen, but if we did object. So we have several different objects in here. And then we went to recolor. We have red, orange, yellow, green, so like you can get some pretty cool neon effects, especially when you go into when you go into like reds and stuff such as this. And then when you add the let's go back into settings, when you add these lights, it intensifies the color. See, it really just makes that color really dramatic and look pretty real. It's pretty cool. Do you guys have any questions about colors or how to add them to your room, or any tips that you you guys need for your competition rooms that you guys might be working on? I'll take a look at my comments real quick. Yeah, so the best way to darken rooms is if you, we have a new skybox. It's called Outer Space Skybox here. If you haven't looked at it, you can actually find this in your watch. If you go to this room, then go to Setup, then go to General Setup, and then go to Subroom Settings. And then we have a mood that is outer space. So if you go to subroom settings, I'll go again. So you go to general setup. Let's go back. Go to setup, then go to general setup, go to subroom settings, go over, and then you have these options here. And we have this really awesome black that you can use in your rooms. But unfortunately, we no longer have the black, and there's a technical reason for that. But this is the closest that you can get with the black, and it does actually work really well. If you haven't actually looked at it already, looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna take a look at my comments real quick. So a point light in your room, like if I went to go to my gadgets and go to a point light. So let's just take a really close look here. So we have a 0.51%. So a point light would take up, now it's a point. So, yep. So it adds about, that much ink. So just take a look at your ink. So it's not actually taking a full 1%. So that is actually pretty significant, actually. 47, 79, 1. So there you go. Pretty good. Yeah, so you can do light flickering and flashing using state chips. Oh wait, we use state chips over here. No, we didn't actually use state chips. We just used a random chip. But you can also use state chips too to make them flash as well. This is a very small light flicker. So let's just take a look here. I'm actually gonna make this a different color just to bring in more light. Let's go to recolor, white. I'm going to intensify that color. Alright, it's a little bit too bright. There we go. Alright, so we're going to go back to wire tool. So we have, I'm going to bring this forward. Alright, configure, no, let's go to wire tool. Alright, so take a look here, on and off, you have color, which is on the red tab, so color, oops, configure. Color is red, so we have like 2, so we're changing the color to 2. We go to random, we're making it continuous, and then when we, so this we want to green, which is 1. Green is here. This is the no green. The blue. So the red is to the blue. So on and off. So this is 1. So this is turning the light on, and the red tab going to the green tab is turning the color to its state at the moment, and then it pulses that color. So that pulses the intensity, so this is going off to the intensity of that color, so it's like flashing intensity. And then this blue is like the max, so we're controlling the max value here. We're adding. Yep, so we're adding by turning it on and off, and then adding a wave chip to go move it back and forth. So you can do this with different colors. You also can do this with state machines, but it just helps it flash. So if you come into the lights tutorial, you can take a look at this and see how it's actually coming together and working. I will have a tutorial on this probably coming out Monday, and how to make flashing fire work with state machines and just a random chip. And then I will be going over, I will also add the disco lights, because I've been getting a lot of how do I make disco lights, so I'll definitely add that as well. Also go over how to hook up lights to objects, just like this one, because we've gotten a lot of how do I make a clamp to an object, so you can definitely do that. It's pretty easy, especially if after doing it. Yeah, so if we went to, let's go ahead and less intensified. Right, so go back and open up the pen, go ahead and go to settings, go to hide gadgets, this pen here, so made this gun here. So it kind of actually shoots too. So if you put on gadgets, you can see how the piston is actually connected to the clamp, and how this clamp is clamping these two together, and how the sound chip is being applied as well. So yeah, there you guys go. Do you guys have any other questions before I take off? Because I'm just making this a very short stream today. And then hoping I will have PSVR's Frank's Room done by Wednesday. So I'm not showing that right now because there's a bunch of people working in there. So I'll be stepping in there probably shortly as well. No. You can't darken dorms right now. I think the best way you can darken a dorm is by adding black shapes and then adding kind of like lights and so forth. But to darken your dorm at the moment is not possible at the moment. We cannot create shadows at the moment because of other issues, but lights can brighten up rooms, which makes it more realistic. We cannot add, they do not have shadows around them, so unfortunately that is not possible at the moment, but maybe in near future. Yep, you can make a moving light around your dorm by adding gizmos. Let's go over here and turn on. Yep. So at the moment, I have 3 rotating gizmos here connected to a variable to turn them on and to apply how fast they're going. So right now they're going really slow. So so this is controlling. I'll go to configure. This is turning the gizmo on, and this is how fast it's going. So the red is turning the gizmos on, and this is how fast they're going. So if I hover over here, you have on and off, which I turned on, which is 1, and the rotation speed is 2. So these lights that are moving around, which is on a rotation, is going in circles. So you can see how they're kind of like giving these like little butterflies kind of a light. So once they reach something that's close, it lights up. And it kind of looks like fairies, and it just kind of brings on like what the background could look like if you add the light, and kind of adds a little bit more depth to the scene. So that's pretty simple of how to create a light that moves in your map. I'm not sure if we can get things to reflect off the mirror. Yes, you do matter. Yeah. Okay, great. So this is a pretty, hopefully this helped you guys how to create some pretty awesome things and how to add colors to your lights, and neon effects just like this one, and how to add light to neon effects and give it a more realistic kind of effect in Rec Room, which is pretty epic right now. If you guys happen to add lights to your rooms, go ahead and send the before and after pictures, and I would love to share them on Rec Room. And in the Maker Pen class, Maker Pen class happens every Saturday and Sunday. Every Friday and Sunday. We will be having more Maker Pen classes open up during the weeks ahead. I will announce those sooner than later, once I get everything prepped for that. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions about lights, go ahead and ask away in the Discord channel, or just direct message me on Discord, and then I'll get back to you on lights. Pretty cool stuff. I'll have more tutorials coming out on lights too, and how to add these kind of like really interesting effects, and how you can create really cool things in your room. Other people have really created some epic stuff. If you guys haven't looked at the trailer, it's pretty epic what people have done with their rooms with lights. So let me know what you guys have done with your rooms with lights, and send me the before and after pictures so I can share those. You guys all have a great day, and I hope you guys have a good one. Yeah, everything takes up some space in your room, so, and especially in your dorm room, so you just want to keep a lookout how much space that you are taking up by going to your palette, and then going to your looking at on the upper left hand corner on your palette, which is ink limit, and this room is at 98 because of all the lights that we have in here. And we're just trying to like really show what you can do with these lights, and how like these lights can mesh together to create some pretty good contrast and levels of depth within your maps. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, and you can use this tutorial, lights tutorial, as a baseline to understand lights and how you can use them in your maps. So I would recommend doing so. It's a clonable map, and you can do whatever you want with it. Alright, guys. No, unless there's an update, ink limit cannot go over 100% unless there's an update that decreases ink limit. And then you might be able to see it over 100 at that point. Alright, you guys have a good night.